Hiya. So this is currently the state of the 80s Raleigh Superb. I've done away with the wheels, they're in this scrap bin now. Done away with the mudguard, they're also in the scrap bin. The mudguards were just totally rusted, there was no way of saving those. Chain case as well, that was pretty rusted, so that's gone. So this is what we're left with. We're left with the frame, crankset, handlebar, shifter and brakes. I'm going to try and refurbish the rear hub, the 3-speed dyno hub, see if I can get that working. But with this, what I'm going to do is just to get it running again, really, just cheaply, I'm going to convert it to single speed. It pretty much is already, but the main conversion is going to be changing those rod brakes to calipers. The rod brakes were horrible. I don't know why they still used them. All that metal hanging off it. To get the wheels out as well, you have to actually take the pads out. So you need to make sure you carry around the right spanners with you to remove the wheels if you ever got a puncture. So that would be fun. So yeah, what I'm going to do is convert it to calipers. Should be a relatively simple job, but I will have to change quite a lot of the parts. I'm going to have to take off all the rod brake mechanisms, and I'm going to change the stem and bars as well. And you're also going to have to change the rims. If you've got the rod brake only rims, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Hello, Torvi. Hey. What have you got all over your face? Kitty cat. So where was I? The rod brake rims, you won't be able to use those with calipers. You can get sort of dual rims, which I think are the Westwood for drums, Westwood for rod brakes, Westwick for dual, and Endrick for calipers. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So I'm going to get some Endrick rims as well. I've already got the rear wheel, but I'm going to have to build up the front. But yeah, we'll get to it. So first off, I'm just going to go around and pull off all of these components for the rod brakes. There we go. So I've already taken the crankset off while I was cleaning it. We have got a bit of rust in there along this side around the chainstay bridge. It's not going to be a special bike, it's an 80s. I don't think this is worth that much, but you hungry? Okay. Yeah, we're going to pull all this off. All these clips can go. That's all for the dynamo. Take the Sturmy Archer off, we're not going to need that. Going to have to try and unscrew all of these rod brake parts. Unbolt it from here backwards up, because it's all interlinked. So hopefully it comes undone. If it doesn't, it's going to be a massive pain in the ass. so I've got the rod brakes off now. Everything came apart from one, which I'm going to have to cut off. But I can replace that and reuse the whole set, which is good. Now on the rear here, I've got this plate instead of a brake bridge, but I can still use a caliper with that. I need to make sure I get the right reach, so if I just get this ruler on, I'm going to want something, if I line it up with the centre of that hole to the rim, at the centre of the rim is about a 70mm reach, so I'm going to need something with around that. And kind of as if by magic, I already have one. So I've got this out my spares. If that goes on there, that will go just perfect and reach in there. So if I put that on, I'll have a rear brake straight away. And if you notice as well, this is the Endrick rim. It's not for rod brakes, you can't pull up underneath it and use it, so I've just grabbed this out my spares as well. I'm going to put some tyres on it, and that is really just simply the rear. It would be a bit of a different story if it didn't have this plate, or it had, if it had a tubular one but didn't have the hole and you'd have to drill the hole out. But that is nice and simple, just converting it just like that. Same with the front, just check the reach. I'm going to do it on this side, which is, same, exactly the same. So I should have a matching pair. If I put this one on, yep, that'll reach. Just go adjust the brake pads, and that will stop much better now. Much better. I'm going to find a little washer for the back. And when it comes to the bars, I've literally just taken a 22.2mm stem to match the headset, taken some riser bars to match the stem, and then just put on some brake levers to match. So that's all the equipment that I need to change. The biggest thing was actually just stripping it all down, so now I've just got to run all the cables and we'll have converted like that. So I've got the cables on. You've seen me do that 1,000 times, but the cables running down, they're all nicely put on now. But there is one last thing you can do when doing this little sort of rod brake to caliper brake conversion, and that's these holes. The frame will be left with a hole each side at the head tube here, and it will be left with a hole each side down by the bottom bracket. I've measured these holes and they're just over 5mm. So I've bought these tiny little plugs, just 5mm. They're 5mm rubber plugs, so I'm going to put a little bit of super glue around them and just plug all these holes up, so that, well, no water can run in the frame. And this is where I get super glue all over my fingers. I'm just going to run a bit of glue just around there, and then just push them in, and I've definitely just got super glue all over my fingers. So I'm going to do that for the 3 other holes, and then we'll have another look around. So I think that's about it. Yeah, that looks good now, it rides. I mean, well, it's a ratty look, but it rides, it works, it will protect you in the rain and it will get you over winter. So yeah, this was the 1980 whatever Raleigh Superb that I picked up. It was in a much worse state than the 450s one, the 1950s one. So I've used it as a bit of a example of how to convert rod brakes to calipers. Takes a few parts, quite a few parts actually. So you have to change the wheels obviously, so you've got the different style rims to work with calipers. You need to change the calipers themselves and hope that you've got the right caliper mounts, measuring the reach properly. Going to change the handlebars and stem and brake levers, but then it should pretty much be, here comes the cat again, it should pretty much be sorted. Because the mudguards on the original bike were absolutely trashed, I've just thrown on some ones I had lying around spare, which should be a nice bit of cover for whoever has this bike. And it's only single speed now rather than 3-speed, just to cruise around town. And the cat's about to go in my garage, so let me just grab her. Come on. This is Torvi, by the way. She's a stray kind of cat that I adopted, and she's stuck around. Likes to watch me do the bikes, don't you? You're gonna behave. So yeah, just I think that's about it. New brake levers, check. New bars and stem, check, because the obviously rod brake have it all in one. Calipers fitting on properly, check. Reach adjusted properly, check. Rims compatible with calipers, check. That is pretty much it. I think one of the only real areas where you might find some trouble doing this is with the rear. I was lucky that I had this big plate on the back here, which I think is for fitting mudguards and panniers, because you've got the two mounts there for panniers and the one in the bottom for the mudguard. So I was able to fit the caliper to that. I have seen it before where the bridge stay here, the support for these seat stays, is just a tube, and doesn't have a hole drilled through it or anything, so you might have to drill a hole for that. It depends. Different bikes vary, so the one problem you might have is with this rear. It might take a bit of adapting to get it work, but it's doable. It's doable. And obviously just make sure you seal up the frame after, so make sure no water gets inside it. So just put these bungs in and seal them up nicely, and that should sort it out, and you'll have a lot more convenient way of changing your wheels, changing your tyres if you get a puncture, because the rod brakes are a pain. So there we go. Just hope you liked this little video. I didn't really think the money was in this bike to do a full restoration on it, so converting it from rod brakes to calipers was one way of using it and making it into a usable bike again. So hopefully someone can get some use over this over the winter, or even for the parts if you need it, because it's not going to go for much. So nice crankset on there, nice wheel set on there. Get out the garage. Hey. This one needs to stop going in the garage. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you want to see more content like this, then hit the subscribe button, like and dislike to your heart's content, and I'll catch you in the next video. Torvi may or may not make an appearance.